And at 10, Reaper Puppet. While the Reaper Puppet may not be canon to the Five Nights series, he originates from a popular fan-made game series called Final Nights. Reaper Puppet is one of the main antagonists in Final Nights 3 Nightmares Awoken, where he will climb over a railing to get into your hospital room. He also returns in the final game of the series Final Nights 4 Fates Entwined, where he looks even more gruesome. In the third game he looks similar to the puppet we all know and Night Marionette combined. His legs are curled like Ursula's tentacles, and the arms are so thin they're worse than mine. He has sharp fingers that in all honesty appear tree-like, where his legs are the roots and his arms are the branches. The way he just climbs towards the door is so creepy, and you need to confront him to get him to leave. And in the fourth game he looks like the puppet mixed with Jeff the Killer, like Night Marionette on some form of substance that would be classified as illegal and might have a similar name to that of a famous soda brand. And at 9, Toy Chica. Toy Chica is a simple animatronic, but a scary one. Equipped with security functions that allow it to scan everyone it sees, anyone in the sex offender shuffle is luckily going to stay far away from the pizzeria. But if you manage to get by, the actual design of the thing will be enough to make you leave. Chica is a chicken, which means that they have beaks, but Toy Chica doesn't have a beak. Sure, it starts off having a beak, but by the time it would help you, the damn thing is gone. Plus, don't even get me started on the fact that the majority of pictures that pop up when you Google Toy Chica are things that kids should not be seeing. Get your cupcake away from there! It doesn't belong there! Stop it! First appearing in Five Nights 2 and later Ultimate Custom Night, Toy Chica is just god-awful without the beak. How could it fall off in the first place? It's attached to your face. And at 8, Ennard. Ennard is literally the insides of 5 different animatronics, basically just walking around with his guts and the guts of 4 other people visible to anyone who wants to see, or doesn't want to see. Plus there's also the fact that to escape from sister location, they scoop out your guts and replace them with themselves, making you their flesh suit while also infusing you with the remnant metal. So even after they've noped out of you, your rotting corpse can still walk around and become the Garden Pizzeria Simulator. Plus when he takes that mask off, it's just like 3 eyes. Yeah, 3 eyes with one hanging off his cheek. It's too much. I can't. No. I think the worst part is that he ends up having to insert himself into you like some weird kinky crap, but then ejects himself to go find a new fresh flesh suit. Hey, that's kind of like a tongue twister. New fresh flesh suit. Man, that's hard. Oh, and the damn nightmare version I saw when I googled him, even if it's just fan-made, I can't anymore. This looks worse than Pennywise. He looks like a clown with a stash of pillows under his floorboard with his victims in the attic. I can't. I don't know why I said the pillows. I did though. And at 7, Biddy Bap. The Biddy Baps are a pair of tiny animatronics appearing in sister location that could also have up to 7 members of the little Biddy cult or whatever it is. The 2 we see are only active in Night 2 during the game. They're small, baby-like animatronics with pale skin and oddly colored eyes. At the beginning of sister location, you hide under a desk while you hear the 2 talking about stuff you only listen to if you're MatPat. Then need to fight to keep the door closed as they try to push through. The fact that you can see their eyes poking through while you're fighting to close the door only makes it worse. This is by far one of the most intense moments of the series. Plus, it's the purest form of nightmare fuel, especially if you're a parent. To watch these things peel their face off to reveal their animatronic interiors, I just can't. It feels wrong. And at 6, Music Man. This guy is always smiling, and not like the good kind of smiling that gives you the rev of always being happy, but literally showing all your teeth with your mouth in like a rectangle smile. This animatronic is one of the purchasable products in Pizzeria Simulator. He can be found in the rare finds auction section of the catalog, and can also be unlocked by fishing him out of the ball pit tower minigame. He made a return in Ultimate Custom Night as one of the selectable characters, as they all did. Activating this character will cause him to spawn behind you. He's sound sensitive, meaning that if you make noise, he will crash his cymbals together. The more noise you make, the faster the crashing, until eventually he just jump scares the hell out of you. Music Man can be activated by Phantom Mangle and Mangle's gargles, phone guy calls, the monitor, and the fan. The fan. This guy is basically a musical spider, and if I wanted to deal with that, I'd watch Charlotte's Web. If you've seen other videos, you'll know I hate spiders, and this is honestly just terrible. And he's behind you and you can't see him, which makes it even worse. You have to go off sound, and if you're trying to do like the 20-20-20-20 thing, like no. And at 5, Nightmare Mangle. Nightmare Mangle is the really screwed up version of Mangle who first appeared in the Halloween update for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Sure, original Mangle is scary, with a jaw that can unhinge and the one who caused the bite of 87, but this Nightmare Mangle takes it to a whole new level of terror. Removing what can only be described as flesh, you see the horrifying internal endoskeleton of the animatronic. Throw on a few extra arms, legs, and even heads, and you'll be spooking me for days. In FNAF 4, this replaces Nightmare Foxy in the closet, so make sure you keep checking that, otherwise you'll be screwed. But it also makes an appearance in Ultimate Custom Night, since again, they literally all do. In Ultimate Custom Night, Nightmare Mangle comes down the right hall, but you can prevent it from entering the office by buying the Funtime Foxy plushie from the prize corner. If you don't though, it's one of the scariest jump scares in the game, but mostly because of the extra head. And at 4, Scrap Baby. Sometime between the events of the 5th and 6th game, Baby ends up getting kicked out of the Ennard clan. There's a conversation in the source code of Scott Cawthon's 2 websites to back this up, where Baby is getting voted off the island. After this, Baby somehow finds a way to rebuild her shell, and finds her way to the back alley of Pizzeria Simulator trying to get inside, and failing until you bring her in. Scrap Baby is terrifying. Being horribly disfigured and knocked down, the player has to salvage the animatronic since that's the whole point of the game. But when she attacks, oh my god, it's terrifying and very intense. In Ultimate Custom Night, she has a very interesting gameplay mechanic where she is sitting next to the desk slumped over. There is a panel next to her that allows you to shock her at the cost of 1% of power. This won't make a difference until she has moved. If she has, shocking her will cause her to leave and never return. But if you don't notice, she will jump scare you the next time you bring up your monitor. And at 3, Jacko Chica. This is the scariest version of Chica by far. Sure, there is a Jacko Bonnie, but the Chica is just the worst. It's a nightmare version of Chica, but with fiery eyes and stomach. Oh my god. In Ultimate Custom Night, this version has some damn creepy lines. After getting killed by Jacko Chica, you can hear things like, "The fire within me burns eternal and now yours shall as well," and "I am a burning reminder of your misdeeds," which is totally fun, you know? But they also replaced Chica's cupcake with a jack-o'-lantern. Come on, the cupcake was the best part! This is for sure the scariest thing about the animatronic. Forget the torn flesh, glowing cracks, eyes, and rows of teeth. Okay, maybe it's not. While Jacko Chica may not be canon, it's something I can't unsee, especially when the jack-o'-lantern has its own jump scare. Like what? Even the cupcake doesn't have that. Rude. And at 2, Nightmarionette. Also making its first appearance in the Halloween update for Five Nights 4, Nightmarionette, also known as Nightmarion or Nightmare Puppet, this character is a horrifying version of the puppet. He uses the same behavior as Nightmare in this game. Nightmarionette is the skinniest of all animatronics. His hands are long and just 3 fingers. He has an exposed ribcage that protrudes from his back, and his legs are long and look like they are made of symbiote from a Spider-Man movie. In Ultimate Custom Night, he appears inside the office in random areas, and you must avoid putting your mouse over top of him to make him go away. Otherwise, he will materialize and he will jump scare you once he's solid. He also makes an appearance in Help Wanted, where he will appear in the second Night of Terrors level, which is fair enough because after seeing him, I will never be the same. The lack of color makes him even more terrifying, and I don't know if I can sleep tonight. Finally, in at number 1, Nightmare. Nightmare is almost identical to Nightmare Fredbear, with the same model but a black body and yellow top hat and bow tie. In Five Nights 4, he will appear in Night 7, replacing every other animatronic, which is honestly intimidating as f***. He doesn't need support to come and kill you. He'll do that on his own. He's a lone wolf, doesn't need a pack to be confident in his abilities, and he's everywhere but also nowhere. The only way you can tell which direction he's coming from is by listening to the footsteps present in the game. In Ultimate Custom Night, he's invisible until he reaches your door, where you can only see eyes. You need to listen for laughter and look out for eyes in order to know when he's coming. Laughing in scary games is torture. It's crazy and sadistic. He enjoys torturing his victims before death, and this is evident by his action in Ultimate Custom Night, but also the way he speaks when he kills you, essentially talking down to you and talking as if he's gloating that he killed you, which is rude as f***. In at 10, Shadow Freddy. Shadow Freddy is a black, shadowy version of Freddy Fazbear that appears in some of the later games in the series. It is known for its ability to teleport and its habit of appearing unexpectedly in dark areas of the restaurant. Shadow Freddy's eerie appearance and ability make it a very frightening and unsettling enemy. Okay, this is pretty generic and boring, which I guess is expected with AI, since it's pulling from online text posts and wikis rather than videos that have more personality to them. But also, like, Shadow Freddy isn't known for its habit of appearing in dark areas. It's known for being a mysterious figure that has no real origin and is thought to be a Springlock victim or someone who possessed Freddy in the past. But with the amount of online posts, why isn't the AI writing that? I don't know. It also shows up in FNAF 2, which I don't consider a later game in the series considering how it's the second one, but I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it knows more than we think it does, but doesn't want us to know that it knows that, so it doesn't outright tell us, but it hints at it. I don't know. And at 9, Nightmare. Nightmare is a nightmarish version of Bonnie the Bunny that appears in some of the later games in the series. It is known for its ability to teleport and its habit of appearing unexpectedly in dark areas of the restaurant. Nightmare's disturbing appearance and ability to appear and disappear at will make it a very frightening and unsettling enemy. Okay, alright, so the AI is right off the bat wrong here, okay? Since Nightmare is a more nightmarish version of Nightmare Freddy, not Bonnie, and it appears in FNAF 4 and Ultimate Custom Night. I don't think Nightmare himself is able to show up in Help Wanted, but he also appears in FNAF World, but I don't know if we're still talking about that. I have no idea why the AI thought the Nightmare was a version of Bonnie, though. That's certainly an interesting take, but at least you can't get mad at me for that, even though I'm sure most of you already written your comments about it, since I didn't write that. The AI did, so get mad at them. And also, the rest of that was literally the same thing as the previous one with a couple of words changed. It's like when I'm trying to extend an essay. And at 8, Plush Trap. Plush Trap is a small animatronic resembling a tattered and worn out version of Springtrap. It is known for its ability to move quickly and attack the player from unexpected angles. Plush Trap's small size and agile movements make it a particularly difficult and unpredictable enemy. Alright, this one, not that bad. It's alright. It really lacks detail, but also has some unnecessary ones, which is weird. It's kind of like someone wanted to extend their word count in an essay, but did it in the worst way that they could have done. Like, yes, they're a small animatronic that resembles Springtrap, but Springtrap is already pretty worn down and damaged. Like me, except my damage is mostly mental, save for a few literal scars on my hand. But he also doesn't attack the player from unexpected angles. It's just the one angle. He literally runs down a hall. And literally all the jump scares in the games are unexpected. That's the point of a jump scare. And at 7, Nightmare Fredbear. Nightmare Fredbear is a nightmarish version of Fredbear, the mascot of Fredbear's Family Diner. It is known for its ability to teleport and its habit of appearing unexpectedly in dark areas of the restaurant. Nightmare Fredbear's disturbing appearance and ability to appear and disappear at will make it a frightening and unsettling enemy. Alright, the AI, it started off strong here. Okay, I'm surprised the AI actually mentioned Fredbear's Family Diner and how Fredbear was their mascot. But then it goes into the same vein that it did for Shadow Freddy and Nightmare, saying that it teleports into dark areas of the restaurant. But Nightmare Fredbear only really exists within the world of FNAF 4, or the in-universe games, so he doesn't really exist in a restaurant, and therefore can't teleport around inside of one. Also, the AI put Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear at the top of the list? Like, not even at number 5? Come on, yikes. And at 6, the Screaming Child. The Screaming Child is a ghostly figure that appears in some of the later games in the series. It is believed to be a ghost of a child who was killed by William Afton, and it is known for its ability to possess the animatronics and use them to attack the player. The Screaming Child's ghostly appearance and ability to possess others makes it a frightening and unsettling enemy. Okay, so I'm gonna assume that the AI wanted to refer to the one you should not have killed here, or the vengeful spirit, whatever you want to call them. But apparently, you can also call them the Screaming Child, which I didn't know was a thing. But I mean, this had to come from somewhere, right? The AI had to have pulled it from somewhere online. But based on how it's a ghost killed by Afton and known for possessing animatronics, even though the one you should have not have killed only possesses one at most, but it also doesn't, it possesses William. It really seems like it's supposed to be the vengeful spirit, but just slightly off. And if you like me criticizing our AI overlords, be sure you give this video a like, and maybe we can do some more AI-based videos in the future. I don't know, it was easy on me, kind of. I had to critique the whole thing because it didn't write crap, but who knows? Maybe we can use it to figure out the proper FNAF timeline. Or maybe the hidden origins of Choo Choo Charles. I don't know. Let me know. Halfway through into number 5, Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Bonnie is a black shadowy version of Bonnie the Bunny that appears in some of the later games in the series. It is known for its ability to teleport and its habit of appearing unexpectedly in dark corners of the restaurant. Shadow Bonnie's eerie appearance and ability to appear and disappear at will make it a very frightening and unsettling enemy. God damn. Another basic ass response with the line about its habit or teleporting around being unexpected in corners of the restaurant. Okay, I said it wrong just now, but it still had a different meaning when I said it, despite being the same words that the AI used. Okay, it doesn't seem to care about repeating itself. The only thing that I respect here is the fact that it put Shadow Bonnie over Shadow Freddy for scare factor, since Shadow Bonnie is a more prevalent character in the series. But also, Shadow Bonnie first appears in FNAF 2, just like Shadow Freddy, so I don't know why they think that it's a character that appears in some of the later games, unless they're confusing parts of it with Nightmare Bonnie, but even then, I don't know. In it for the puppet. The puppet is an animatronic marionette that is controlled by an unknown entity. It is known for its ability to manipulate and control the other animatronics, as well as its habit of hiding in the prize corner. The puppet's eerie and puppet-like appearance, as well as its ability to manipulate and control others, make it a very frightening and unsettling enemy. Alright, this one at least is better, and it's not claiming that the puppet teleports around the Pizzaplex. However, it also says that it's controlled by an unknown entity. It's probably saying that because it's a marionette and like a puppet and, you know, puppeteering, but we know that the puppet is possessed by Charlotte, Henry's daughter, who gets killed by Afton outside Fredbear's diner in 1983 and then merges with the puppet outside like we see in the security puppet minigame from FNAF 6. And I feel like I've mentioned the creepy puppet FNAF VR walk enough times that it could have picked up on that, but I guess ChatGPT isn't a fan of quality content. And at 3, Ennard. Ennard is a hybrid animatronic created from the remnants of the other animatronics in the restaurant. It has a disturbing and unsettling appearance with a head that is a combination of several different animatronic parts. Ennard's ability to impersonate the player's co-workers and manipulate them into opening the doors make it a very frightening and dangerous enemy. At least it said dangerous this time instead of unsettling. I don't know, is it just me or is this AI repeating itself a lot? It ends basically every number the same way. I don't know, I could get a better list out of Cleverbot if I tried hard enough, honestly, but maybe that's for another video. Nevertheless, Ennard is a pretty frightening and dangerous animatronic, although it wasn't made from restaurant animatronics, instead being made from animatronics found in Circus Baby's entertainment and rental. It still did pretty well though. Although Ennard doesn't pretend to be your coworker, and Baby just pretends to be your friend despite literally being your sister, Ennard doesn't really pretend to be good overall. They just scoop you right off the bat, but I guess that's too intricate for an AI to actually handle, maybe? I don't know. Penultimately, in number 2, William Afton. William Afton is a human character who appears in various forms throughout the series, including as the animatronic Springtrap. Afton is a serial killer who has targeted children and used their remains to create the animatronics in the restaurant. His disturbing and ruthless behavior make him a very frightening and terrifying enemy. I said terrifying this time. Firstly, this robot is not YouTube friendly since it describes Afton's killer demographic in a way that could get us flagged, since, you know, if you say kid, I could really be talking about anyone. Like, hey kid. Even though they're older than me, you know the deal. But nevertheless, I also don't agree with this placement, okay? I've always stood by the fact that Springtrap isn't an animatronic. It's Afton in a suit, and it's an Afton who's still alive. If he was dead in the Springlock suit, then yes, he'd be an animatronic. But since he's alive, he's in essence just a cyborg, being enhanced by his suit and using it to not fall to pieces or into a puddle, whatever the case would have been. We know the one you should not have killed was keeping him alive through all this to torture him, but I guess since the majority of the internet is still against me on this, from what I've seen at least, I could see why this AI would make that mistake. But also, if it had said Spring Bonnie instead of Springtrap, I would be okay with it. Just, you know, semantics. And finally, in at number 1, Circus Baby. Circus Baby is a female animatronic clown with a circus-themed appearance. She's known for her ability to lure children into her fun time room, where she will then kidnap and kill them. Circus Baby's creepy personality and deadly intentions make her a very frightening and unsettling enemy. There we are, back to the unsettling. Alright, so this was the top pick for the AI, and honestly, it's a solid decision. Baby's backstab still gives me trust issues to a point where I'm still certain that Glamrock Freddy is going to turn on us. But also, I don't remember Baby ever luring kids to a fun time room to kill them. I don't know. The only kill that I think she makes directly is Elizabeth, who then ends up possessing her. And after that, she gets retired until she becomes a part of Ennard and uses our body to escape. And if this is meant to be about us and they just got the demographic wrong, it's still a scooping room, not the fun time room. But I guess this goes to show that there's so much conflicting information out there that not even AI connected to the internet could figure out the truth about FNAF. So what hope do we have when we're trying? I don't know. Well, we might have a little bit, because luckily my algorithm is so advanced that I can process complex thoughts most of the time.
And at 10, Nightmare. Nightmare is the main antagonist of FNAF 4, who returns an Ultimate Custom Night. Nightmare is a bipedal black nightmare bear animatronic with his face that has scratches and distorts all over it. His muzzle and jaw has white sharp teeth with blood stains in the corners, near his black gums and on the rest of the inside of his mouth. Okay, his eyes are, there's black eyelids and red irises. He's a giant, pure black bear that is just as dark as night and is where all dreams go to die. I don't know how else to say it. He also has a a shiny hat. His body it's like kind of lighter than that. You know, he's like a lighter bit on his stomach, but other than that, he's wearing a shiny yellow bow tie and hat, and then, you know, he has teeth everywhere. And in Ultimate Custom Night, Nightmare Fredbear and Nightmare are a tag team duo that are invisible to the cameras and can only be seen when you reach doorways. God. Okay, and even like then, only their eyes are visible. Yeah, his name is Nightmare. What else do I need to say? He's gonna give you nightmares. He's Nightmare. And at 9, Ennard. Ennard is the true main antagonist of FNAF's sister location, composed of the endoskeletons of the sister location animatronics, and he makes a return in Ultimate Custom Night as well, because of course he does. Ennard is one of the many Funtime animatronics, I guess, in a way, but he is also all of the Funtime animatronics. But what makes him terrifying is that he is the most human-like animatronic out of all of them, or at least proportions-wise, and that's just composed of like a wired endo body, and he also has a white mask with a red nose, eyebrows, and a freaking party hat. Dude, why? Why would you give yourself a party hat? There's no point to that. His body is just like wires of all the endoskeletons that he's made of, and he has a red button in the center because, you know, that's the self-destruct. No, it's not. I wish it was. But he also is covered in eyes, because he's every Funtime animatronic. Ennard climbs around in the vent systems in Ultimate Custom Night, but unlike the other animatronics in the vents, he's actually difficult to keep track of, and he only appears briefly and when he's moving. He can't be seen in the vents opening, but he will give himself away by squeaking before he attacks. Yeah, you gotta listen for squeaking because you can't use visuals. That's not fun. I don't want to play these games with audio. It's not a good thing. If you want to stop him, you gotta close the vent door, but again, you won't know when he's there. Aside from being one of the creepiest animatronics design-wise though, this dude is just a whole load of worrying crawling through the vents, so yeah, he's getting on the list, absolutely, 100%. And at 8, Circus Baby. Hello and welcome to Watch Mojo. Today we're counting down the top 10 worst anime betrayals, but it's FNAF. In sister location, we thought we finally had the first nice animatronic, okay? It was like basically it was a prototype of Glamrock Freddy, or at least we thought so. At first, Baby gives us tips on how to survive. She helps us get through Ballor's gallery. She seems like she actually wants us to stay alive. And then what do we get for trusting her? Scooped and stuffed, just like a Thanksgiving turkey. This is probably one of the most brutal things to happen to a character in the entirety of the series, and that's built on the fact that we trusted Baby, okay? If we didn't trust her, then it happened, then we would just be stupid, but we trusted her this time. She makes us feel safe. She gave us confidence that we would survive. She prevented us from getting killed, only to use our body as a skin suit and then get kicked out of Ennard not even a game later. This is why I don't trust Glamrock Freddy. Baby is legit one of the reasons I have trust issues now, and that's saying something, or maybe that's the personality disorder that I have not yet figured out. And at 7, Chica. Chica is an antagonist that's exclusive to the Halloween update for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Well, I guess not an update, but it's a DLC of sense things. She replaces Nightmare Chica in this version, and she also returns in Ultimate Custom Night and Help Wanted. Chica is a Halloween themed version of Nightmare Chica, which I feel like you could kind of get given that it's the Halloween update. She's distorted, nightmarish, an even worse version of Nightmare Chica with several sharp teeth, wires sticking out from torn parts of her body, and then, unlike her original counterpart, she lacks eyes. And actually like the head of an endoskeleton, instead having just a bright orange light emitting from her eye sockets and torsos, and just every single opening, it has orange light coming out from it. Do you know how terrifying that is? It is the depths of hell walking towards you carrying a freaking pumpkin cupcake. She also carries a jack-o'-lantern instead of a cupcake, but I just said that. When the office in Ultimate Custom Night heats up to 90 degrees, Chica is going to appear in both halls at the same time. And then once she's fully materialized, she's going to kill you. The only way that you can stop her is by closing the left and right doors at the same time to make her vanish, or I guess having them both closed at the same time. You can't really close both at once, but this won't work if the office reaches 100 degrees or more, so yeah, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. That's why I don't play FNAF anymore. And at 6, Lolbit. Lolbit is essentially just a recolored Funtime Foxy, repainted to match like the FNAF World version of Lolbit, with the only exception being the absence of the hook hand from FNAF World, but I feel like that's a good thing. It has no visible eyelids or eyeballs, and instead it just has glossy black eyes with just
big white pupils, and it's covered in white with like orange highlights surrounding its eyes like some weird form of clown makeup. And the worst part about the character is the noise that is associated with the damn thing. The worst part of a jump scare is the audio, okay? It's something that's meant to overload multiple senses in order to give you a shock. The visual of a jump scare without some sort of sudden loud audio isn't really going to do anything, but a loud sound on its own can still scare you. So combine that with her freaking clown fox appearance, like what the hell kind of combination is that? I don't know, okay? And the sound seems to be like a failed connection or something like that. Like it's something that you would hear from a computer crashing in a movie about the 80s, right? Or like a failed dial tone. You know what I mean, okay? Dude, with all of that combined, you have one of the most frustrating sensory nightmares that I have ever experienced. So yeah, Lolbit can show up on this list. And speaking of this list, if you like it, why not give it a like? So I know. How else am I supposed to know? Come on. Halfway through into number 5, Night Toy Bonnie. The Night Toy animatronics are a collection of models from a now deleted Reddit account and are absolutely terrifying. I get that they aren't canon, but Jesus Christ, they're freaking horrific, okay? Night Toy Bonnie being the worst of the bunch. Sure, the others are messed up, but for some freaking reason, Bonnie just sets everyone on edge. I looked through the Reddit comments. It was scary. The original version stands on all fours with its legs like wider than its like hands, as if it's like some deranged gargoyle that just got home from a shopping spree in the Spencer backrooms. But I don't know, okay? I genuinely don't know how else to describe it, because the only thing that's toy about this is the color scheme. Other than that, it's furry, it's terrifying, and it seems like this is what the security database in the original toy animatronics was meant to prevent, if you catch my drift, okay? Like, this thing is gonna show up to the pizzeria and Chris Hansen's gonna pop out and ask it to sit down. It's so utterly terrifying that I had to include it on this list, despite it not really being a canon character. But if I have to suffer the fate of knowing about this thing, so do the rest of you, and you've all been searching it up a lot, so I was hoping it would help with SEO. In at 4, Ballora. I think Ballora is scary for one major reason, because I don't know Afton's intentions. Yeah, we've gotten to that part of the list, because after all, Afton's a man. He's a deranged one, but even the most deranged men have messed up needs. So maybe Ballora was supposed to be a little more than like a mother figure for his kids, okay? Or at least maybe it was like intended to be more. After all, we know that she does represent someone that William didn't let into his life, whether that be after his wife's exit from his life or after Elizabeth's death, but even then, we can start to get a general idea. But thanks to the fast facts found in FNAF AR, we know that the Funtime animatronics were among some of the first ever animatronics made by Afton. And if this was the case, Ballora would have been around before Elizabeth got caught by Baby, especially if she was made for circus babies. So yeah, after Afton's wife or baby mama or whatever it was leaves him or dies, he finds a woman who wants to help him, but he doesn't let her into his life. So instead, he makes a robot version that won't judge him, and he can probably do other things as well. Because let's face it, William wasn't in the most optimistic of mindsets. And if you think about it, there could be a reason that Ballora is so flexible and why she can't stand on her own. Obviously, so she can help work around the house. What were you thinking? God. And with my executive dysfunction, housework is the most terrifying thing of all. Hence why she's at number 4. Getting close to the end, in number 3, Burn Trap. Burn Trap is near the top of this list because while some people may consider this a waste, this to me was certainly a surprise. Okay, sure, we figured that Afton could come back in Security Breach, but we never thought that he would come back like this. We figured that there would be like more ceremony to his resurrection, that there was like actually a ritual that had to be performed, and that Gregory was the key or something. But Burn Trap was not what we expected, or at least I didn't expect a new form of Afton to appear in this game. Okay, I figured that we'd have Scrap Trap or like Glitch Trap form into one, and then he would finally have like a normal body back if he took off the suit or something like that. But no, he's a corpse akin to what you would see in a Saw movie. During the fight against him, Burn Trap walks between 3 different rooms on the other side of like the underground pizzeria. Gregory has to watch for him and watch the rooms that he goes into and press each room's corresponding button when he attempts to take control of Freddy, and then you'll light a fire under his ass, literally, and damage him, stopping the corruption attempt. Failure to do so will have Glamrock Freddy taken over by Afton, which will have him basically instantly kill you. But I have had nightmares about this guy, but specifically because of all the wrenches that he threw into what we thought we knew about the series, but still, he's been in my nightmares, so yeah, he's on the list. Penultimately, in at number 2, Moon. The daycare attendant, otherwise known in-game as Sun or Moon, is a superstar daycare animatronic that appears in Security Breach as a recurring antagonist in its Moon form. As Moon, the daycare attendant is malevolent and aggressive. They constantly chase Gregory once the lights are turned off, and then every hour, not even every other hour, every hour on the hour he is on your ass. And then he attempts to punish him for going past his bedtime. Despite all this though, he still hates messes, and he has to clean them up whenever he sees it. It's like some weird form of like programming OCD. If he sees a mess, then he has to clean it up, but he does so in a creepier way. I can't express it, but honestly, this kind of attitude, like the demeanor that this animatronic gives, in general, just gives me a come see what's in my van, I got more fizzy fazz in here vibe, you know? Him and Night Toy Bonnie, they go to the same meetings, okay? I don't know, it makes me feel like a deep-seated anger in the pit of my stomach and just makes me want to beat his brains in until his wires are spilled on the floor, which is fine for me to say in this case because it's an animatronic, and a fictional animatronic at that, so stop trying to use this as evidence against me. And finally, in at number 1, Plush Trap. Yeah, Plush Trap, okay? The literal embodiment of how people think of children, especially when they don't want to have any. This is probably the most nightmare-inducing animatronic of all time, and I'm saying this on a list that includes one literally called Nightmare, okay? Plush Trap is a smaller plush version of Spring Bonnie, but has a design that's more similar to Scrap Trap, or Spring Trap, sorry. Albeit much more cartoonish and less damaged, considering how he's tiny. He also seems to try to be less menacing in appearance, but only in appearance, because his whole game mechanics are what make him terrifying. The minigame is like a Scooby-Doo chase scene on crack where the player flashes their flashlight at him, trying to stop him as he runs back and forth between doors in a dark hallway. Your goal is to stop him from moving on a painted X on the ground, but that X is literally right in front of you. The whole point of this game is to let the craziness get close to you, and that's what makes it so horrifying. I've done that before. I'm not doing it again. The rest of this game is just about avoiding things, but this specific section, you have to let it come to you. In at 10, Great Escape Golden Freddy. Great Escape Golden Freddy, or for short, simply Great Escape Freddy, is the first Golden Freddy skin that was added into FNAF AR. He received this skin as a part of the special mixed reality DLC game mode Dark Circus Encore that released on December 13th, 2021. Great Escape Golden Freddy is identical to Golden Freddy in coloration, still being yellow, but now is a much duller shade, with black and green splotches on his head, legs, and feet. His head is severely withered in multiple areas, with most of it being deteriorated or missing, including half of his top hat. His eye sockets are completely empty, with holes going through the endoskeleton head and a chain running through his mouth. But like, just looking at this thing, I already fear for my life like I'm in another dimension or like a secret area of the simulation. So, seeing this thing in the back rooms wouldn't, in my mind, be out of place. I mean, if this is where like defective game implements go, this could be a simple explanation for how this mess of a creature got there, because I don't think that this is intentional. At least it shouldn't be. In at 9, Withered Bonnie. Withered Bonnie is an antagonist in FNAF 2, and a recurring character that also appears in Help Wanted. He is a damaged version of the original Bonnie incarnation. Withered Bonnie is a dirty, dry blue with a lighter blue on his ears and torso. His face is missing, leaving a dark gap with wires dangling all over. His endoskeleton face and red and white pupils are scarcely visible. He has round, thin teeth on his bottom jaw, and given his state of disrepair, I think it would make complete sense for this monster to be present in the back rooms. I mean, this guy is like the original Nightmare animatronic in a sense. 100% the scariest part of FNAF 2 in the eyes of many people, and if it's not, you really need to sort out your priorities, because this dude is terrifying. Their whole thing is being seemingly broken only to spring to life and come after you, which is just the kind of thing that would be present in the back rooms. This dude is a menace, and with his ability to flicker lights like we see in Ultimate Custom Night and FNAF 2, he would pose a difficult challenge to overcome, especially with the monster that's already present there right on your tail. And at 8, Shadow Animatronics.
animatronics. The shadow animatronics are ghost-like entities with an unknown place of origin, whereabouts, and history. Shadow Freddy and RWQFSFASXC, aka Shadow Bonnie, are the only two recurring shadow animatronics from throughout the series. The shadow animatronics lack solid forms as they appear to be shadows, supernatural specter-like things with forms based on the Fazbear Entertainment animatronics. Most of them have very dark colors while sporting glowing white eyes and teeth, which is just perfect for the context of the backrooms. These dudes share a very similar style to the monster that we already see running around in the popular video series, and these dudes would pose an ever-looming threat that would really heighten the intensity of these videos. Imagine just like a shadow flying across the screen, or thinking you see some dark figure out of the corner of your eye, and then it's gone. A flashlight could be used as a defense mechanism. Okay, it would be cool. Okay, it would be cool. And at 7, Phantom animatronics. The Phantom animatronics are hallucination variants of the original animatronics who haunt in Fazbear's Fright throughout the nights in FNAF 3. The Freddy Files book also points out that these hallucinations also appear burnt, suggesting that they're trying to warn you of what's to come. The Phantom animatronics first appeared in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 as side antagonists, some of them returned in Ultimate Custom Night, and then they all came back in Help Wanted. But given that these are hallucinations, it's entirely possible that these Phantom animatronics could appear in the backrooms. Think about it. If you're stuck in an endless void of what looks to be the same area for who knows how long, you're gonna start to go crazy. Even if you don't, sleep deprivation at the hands of not wanting to get caught by the monster already in there would surely cause you to start hallucinating after being awake for 48 hours. So those hallucinations could very well be the same ones from FNAF 3, especially if you're a fan of the series. And at 6, Nightmare Endo. Nightmare Endo is the animatronic endoskeleton of Nightmare Fredbear. He technically first debuted in FNAF 4, but returned as a minor Easter egg in Help Wanted to help provide a bit of context. Mostly since a lot of people, myself included, thought that Nightmare had a brain that was visible from the outside. I mean, I don't know why the Nightmare animatronic have an endoskeleton, or even why Nightmare especially has an endoskeleton, given that he's just a figment of Crime Child's coma-induced imagination, but nevertheless, Nightmare Endo is probably the scariest version of an endoskeleton that I have seen. Like, holy crap. If this thing doesn't belong in the backrooms, I don't think any of these would, cause like this one is freaky, but realistically made and discarded by the devs. Or maybe the animatronic that this was made for in Chuck E. Cheese ended up falling through the world and then got into the backrooms the same way we did. I don't know, I just think this style of character fits in here pretty well. Halfway through, in at number 5, System Error Toy Bonnie. System Error Toy Bonnie is a neon-themed skin for Toy Bonnie released as part of FNAF AR's Arcade Mayhem event. And while it may seem peculiar and out of place in the backrooms, think about it. The backrooms is a location that's only accessible by no-clipping through the world, accidentally. So understandably, something that revolves around system errors would be lurking within this developer's room, okay? He looks the part too. He shares the same model as Toy Bonnie, but with a few key differences. His general color, including his bow tie, is a neon reddish orange with lines that go through his entire body, similar to the screen effect of an old CRT TV. He also has a pixelated 8-bit style effect coming from his entire body. His mouth and eyes gleam yellow, and red system error text is printed on his stomach, and glowing white eyebrows, freckle spots, and a glowing nose, but he's not Rudolph. How is this not creepy backrooms material, okay? It's a bit iffy, hence why it's still at number 5, but still, it could be cool. And at 4, The Blob. The Blob is an amalgamation of various animatronics that appears in FNAF Security Breach as secret antagonists. And as its name suggests, the Blob is a huge mass of wire, tentacles, and animatronic parts possessing many glowing red eyes. However, this seems to be the right kind of monster that you would find in the backrooms. The Blob's mind is that of a mindless monster reacting with simple grunts and screeches that are both deep and distorted, as well as low mechanical sounding snoring noises. Some theorize that this implies all the animatronics making up the amalgamation are constantly fighting each other for control, which I think would fit perfectly with the monsters already established to be in the backrooms, especially those in the popular YouTube series that kinda brought back this creepypasta. Dude is like just a mass with a couple of animatronic plastic faces smacked on top. That is 100% something that you'd see out of like the corner of your eye in the corner of the frame, and then you'd pan to see it and it's gone. Getting close to the end, and number 3, The Puppet. The Puppet is an animatronic puppet and a major antagonist of the FNAF series. First appearing as the seemingly main antagonist of FNAF 2, the way we've seen this character move along with their design is very reminiscent of some fan images made of the backrooms. The puppet seemingly moves by floating, something shared with many fan creations of backrooms monsters, and if not, we saw it walk in FNAF VR in one of the most horrifyingly disgusting ways. So yeah, I mean, ignoring the fact that they used to be a
security bot and only attack the player because they look like the man that killed them, you can't tell me that the puppet would be out of place in the back rooms. I mean, like, this thing has discernible characteristics that would make it scarier. I mean, a seemingly lifeless blob with no face whose only purpose is to kill you is one thing, but that with a face and motivation makes it even scarier. Penultimately, and at number 2, Burn Trap. Burn Trap is the final boss of the true ending in FNAF Security Breach and the last remains of William Afton's physical body after the events of Pizzeria Simulator. Just like Spring Trap and Scrap Trap from previous FNAF games, Burn Trap is a withered spring body animatronic infused with the corpse of William Afton. However, unlike the previous two, very little suit remains on his body, only having a head, ears, torso, pelvis, left thigh, and left foot. His endoskeleton appears to be a mixture of Springlock and Glamrock endoskeletons, and this dude is the scariest version of Afton yet. And I think it's kind of a monstrosity, and I think that this kind of monstrosity would fit perfectly within the style of the backrooms. He limps because he wasn't fully charged, he's part sentient code, which seems like the kind of lore that they would include, and he's just blatantly terrifying. If any version of Afton is going to be in the backrooms, it would be Burn Trap 100%, no question. And finally, in at number 1, Nightmarion. Nightmarion, commonly referred to as the Nightmare Puppet or Nightmarionette, is a nightmare animatronic in the FNAF series, first appearing in the Halloween update for FNAF 4, where it replaces Nightmare and thus shares the same behavior. But using the same argument as the Blob with the whole tentacle situation, Nightmarion is probably the most backrooms animatronic we have, period. While yes, they did appear in FNAF 4's Halloween update, they also made an appearance in FNAF VR, where they antagonize the player in one of the Night Terror levels. But it's within this level where you can actually see how far of a reach this animatronic has, since if you look up to the ceiling and towards the bed, you can see tentacles slowly start to enter your room that you need to scare away with your flashlight. So basically, based on the really prevalent monster that we see in the back rooms, this man fits the bill right on, smack dab in the middle, plus a like 25% tip, just saying. Oh, here we go, Stuff of Nightmares, and at 10, Buff Helpy. While Helpy may be an actual animatronic in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, Buff Helpy is a demon from the deepest depths of hell that was sent here to curse Dawko until a certain someone gets noticed. Literally the worst thing imaginable. Buff Helpy originated in the Dawko FNAF meme reviews, where he has somehow managed to work his way in every time. Buff Helpy was commented a lot in the previous part, so I figured I had to include him as a part of this, especially because, like, look at him. I included a fan character last time, so I might as well include another one / a meme character this time. Plus, just the thing is terrifying. Holy crap. I have never been so terrified yet strangely aroused. I mean confused. I mean comforted at the same time. I was running out of adjectives, or is that adjective? No, that's like nouns. Whatever that kind of word that is. And at 9, Freddy Frostbear. Freddy Frostbear is identical to normal Fredbear, but light blue and dark blue with a plaid tie and a mistletoe on his hat. He has an icicle in place of a microphone in his hand, which he will probably use to give you the worst ice pick lobotomy in history. Even worse than Nurse Ratched. Frostbear is much more aggressive than his counterpart. During his time in Five Nights at Freddy's Special Delivery, he will freeze your screen, making you need to shake it off before being able to act again. And if he haywires, you shouldn't look at his face or he will jump scare you instantly. He will fake charge at you on occasion while remaining invisible. When he materializes, you need to shock him, otherwise he will jump scare you. This character looks dope, and honestly I would just like to see this thing, but it is actually scarier when you think about it, especially because I hate being cold. I hate it with a passion, yet I live in Canada. My apartment is also like 28 degrees constantly. It's weird. Canada is bipolar when it comes to the weather. No pun intended. Actually, yes, pun definitely intended. I wrote that, then I left it in after I realized it, so pun definitely intended. And at 8, Withered Bonnie. Still a giant blue rabbit, Withered Bonnie is missing his face. The main freaky feature of this animatronic is the missing face. Withered Bonnie's face is gone, revealing its endoskeleton and mechanisms, and causing wires to dangle. Yet, even with the missing face, you can still see 2 red lights for eyes that will haunt your nightmares for the next few days. Its left arm is totally gone, like ripped out of the socket, gone, and leaving the wires that are basically its veins out. Imagine if this was a person. Would you really play these games if these were people instead of animals? Because one look at this thing while I'm thinking about this being a person, and I'm ready to order more pants on Amazon. Prime same-day shipping. Yeah, this is damn serious. Out of all the withered animatronics, this one is by far the most damaged, just like me. And at 7, Phantom Freddy.
First appearing in Five Nights 3, Phantom Freddy is one of the many incarnations of the mascot that have been created over the years. Phantom Freddy has the same detail as Golden Freddy, but with a black hat, tie, and mic, as well as a missing right ear. While his legs aren't seen in their entirety in-game, it looks like the left one was ripped off, or at least heavily damaged midway down the thigh. His fur looks burnt and slightly tinted green, which could have been foreshadowing the fire that takes place in Fazbear's Fright. However, he gets a new look in Help Wanted, where he has the same model as original Freddy, just slightly transparent in places, showing his endoskeleton. His walking animation when he's walking in the hallway in Five Nights 3 makes it look like he's doing naughty things in the dark. Ooh, behave. Still, one scary animatronic coming from Fazbear Fright. Why are these all scarier than William Afton? And at 6, Plush Trap. Plush Trap is a smaller plush version of Spring Bonnie, looking similar to the design of Springtrap, but much more cartoon-like and less damaged. Wish I could relate. First appearing in Five Nights 4, he is the antagonist to the Fun with Plush Trap minigame, but he can be replaced with Nightmare Balloon Boy if you use the Halloween DLC or whatever you want to call it. He is a yellow little monster who will sprint at you just like you told him your parents weren't home. And with that bobblehead-sized noggin, it's one of the scariest things that you will ever see in these games. While less damaged than Springtrap, the little monster is just the bane of my existence. This is what I imagine having toddlers is like, especially if it was my kid. Oh my, it would be one hell of a crap show. One minute he's watching TV, the next he's running around the house screeching as loud as he can, and the neighbors keep knocking asking if he's okay, but you can't answer because you're trying to catch him. Then they call the cops. My childhood was weird. Plush Trap is a screaming toddler and one that wants to kill you. That's pretty damn terrifying if you ask me. Halfway through at number 5, Molten Freddy. From Pizzeria Simulator, Molten Freddy is basically Ennard 2.0, but in a visual sense as well as a story sense. Looking extremely similar to both Ennard and Funtime Freddy, Molten Freddy is one of the salvageable animatronics in the 6th game. After Baby gets ejected from the Ennard clan in the time between games 5 and 6, the collection of animatronics reassembles the face of Funtime Freddy to the best of their abilities, and since they lost a member, they don't really have enough body to really resemble a human. Like I said last time that Ennard was scary, but looking at Molten Freddy, this really beats that. Ennard looking human is creepy, sure, but it makes some sort of sense. Take all the scary elements of Ennard and put them in a bear that is literally trying to kill you with its massive teeth, and I need new clothing entirely. As well as a new therapist. This one already has to hear me talk about Sonic, so having to listen to this would make her have to get a therapist. And at 4, Nightmare Balloon Boy. I use Nightmare Balloon Boy in the scariest video game characters list, so I feel it's only logical to use him in part 2 of this list. While Balloon Boy has been around since FNAF 2, Nightmare Balloon Boy was only created in Five Nights 4's Halloween update / DLC or whatever you want to call it. He is featured in the Fun with Balloon Boy minigame, which plays exactly like Fun with Plush Trap. I almost said Nightmare with Plush Trap. Well, that's just what it makes me think of. The worst part of this animatronic is that he went from being so innocent, like looking like a little boy, to looking like a boy with more teeth than a shark, out for your blood like it's water and he's been in the desert for a week. In Help Wanted, you play a version of Fun with Balloon Boy, where you need to stop him on a red X. Doing so unlocks Plush Baby's level, but failure will result in one of the cutest jump scares I have ever seen in all honesty, because like, damn. Excluding Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. And at 3, RWQFSFASXC. Boom! Also known as Shadow Bonnie, this animatronic makes its debut in FNAF 2 along with Shadow Freddy, and becomes more of a centralized character in Five Nights 3 in the minigames, where you get clues that you set up in FNAF World if you ended up playing that game. In 2, RXQ can be found rarely, spawning in the security office where you do all of your work. If you look at it for too long, the game will crash, similar to how Golden Freddy will cause the game to crash. On the mobile version, the game will simply freeze instead, causing you to have to stop it and restart it. In Five Nights 3, the character is only seen in minigames as a controllable ghost, accessible in Night 5 by clicking its plushie. In FNAF World, he is just kidding, there's no way in hell I'm talking about that game in detail. If enabled in Ultimate Custom Night, he will cause your office to become pitch black for about 10 seconds. There is no way of avoiding him, which means if you have all the characters set at level 20, you'll be in for one hell of a bad 10 seconds. Anxiety levels, like high. And at 2, Grim Foxy. Grim Foxy makes his first appearance in Help Wanted's Curse of Dreadbear DLC, and is one of 2 new animatronics added by the DLC. He is essentially a Jacko Foxy, where he is very similar in appearance to any of the Jacko animatronics. The design of Foxy combined with the glowing gives me a real zombie apocalypse vibe for some reason, and the really withered look is making me think of Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, since a few of those zombies were pirates. I don't know why my mind went there, but it just did. And considering how that movie terrified me as a child, I can see why it would be doing the same thing now. Its jump scare is only visible because of the glowing light, and it's just, it's terrifying. No. Finally, in at number 1, Dreadbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who's not gonna die at the hands of Dreadbear? You're welcome. Dreadbear is the main antagonist of FNAF VR Help Wanted Curse of Dreadbear's DLC. That sounded weird. This is the only other animatronic added along with our previous number. Dreadbear looks similar to Frankenstein's monster with the stitches all over his body and the bolts coming out of his neck. He looks like a buff Nightmare Fredbear with thicker and flatter teeth, white eyes, and thick eyebrows like Kim K. Not the eyebrows, just the thick part. Like the other Nightmare animatronics, he has 5 sharp claws and 3 toed feet similar to the toy animatronics, and in all honesty, him being the center of the DLC just says it all. Like, God.
Number 10, Carl. Carl the Cupcake is Chica's own animatronic pal. Carl is of course a cupcake who typically sits on Chica's platter, but also has been known to roam around on his own from time to time. Carl has even gotten his own jump scare animation in a few games. In FNAF 4 and Help Wanted, you'll want to watch out for this crafty cupcake, as those are the games where they can also jump scare you. Carl's official name in the franchise is actually Mr. Cupcake, but the fandom have decided to grant Mr. Cupcake a first name, which is where Carl comes from. Carl Cupcake, Mr. Cupcake. So most of us like to refer to Mr. Cupcake as Carl instead. Number 9, JJ. I mean, I mostly just think JJ is weird because we never really talk about her, and while Balloon Boy, aka BB, is always popping up in conversation and in games, JJ seems to be more sidelined. She is the female counterpart to BB. Initially, she was referred to as Balloon Girl until her name JJ was finally revealed. In FNAF 2, where BB messes with your controls via your lights, JJ entering the office will mess with your door controls more specifically. So both are equally a nuisance to deal with if they manage to sneak in through the vents. JJ also has an identical laugh to BB, which I find pretty creepy, not gonna lie. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are enjoying this list and you want more FNAF lists, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8, RWQFSFAXC, also referred to as Shadow Bonnie for short. Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Bonnie isn't the kind of animatronic that can jump scare you, but more acts as a mechanic in Ultimate Custom Night. Some say that Shadow Bonnie wants you to say their real name for some kind of insidious purpose, to awake demons maybe. He is the shadow version of Toy Bonnie, who first appeared in FNAF 2 as a hallucination. Not specifically an animatronic, I suppose, but definitely something that seems to have been born of an animatronic in some way. In Ultimate Custom Night, Shadow Bonnie serves as an antagonistic mechanic who brings with him 10 seconds of complete darkness to the office in which you reside, making it impossible for you to see the doors during that time. Number 7, Candy Cadet. Candy Cadet is one of the animatronics who appears in Pizzeria Simulator. This animatronic is a game that can be purchased and placed in your own pizzeria. Candy Cadet gives out candy and also tells stories. All of its stories involve 5 of something, usually being combined together, and all of its stories are also pretty dark and generally end in death. Basically, this is not really the kind of game that you would want to encounter at a kid's pizza party place, which is what makes it so disturbing and strange. Though definitely not too strange for the world of FNAF. In these spooky games, it still manages to fit right in, of course. But in a real world context, I feel like most adults would not want Candy Cadet telling stories and dispensing candy at their kid's pizza party. Number 6, Mini Rena. The Mini Renas are a group of smaller animatronics who usually accompany and assist Ballora, sometimes seemingly working against her as well. They're a mischievous bunch of animatronics who enjoy crawling in and around their victims. Ugh. The strange thing about Mini Renas is not just their disturbing desire to climb inside of other people and animatronics, but also their design. While Ballora appears as a beautiful humanoid-looking ballet dancer, the Mini Renas look like creepy, half-finished marionettes. Every story or game they show up in makes them seem even more terrifying than the last. Number 5, The Curse. The Curse is part of the current event in the Special Delivery AR, the Ancient Equinox event, which began on March 5th, 2021. At least I think it's still going on. Not sure if it is. The Curse is basically Springtrap, but reimagined as an ancient Aztec warrior. Oh, Special Delivery, what weird and magical skins you give us. This is the first animatronic skin from Special Delivery to not have the original name of the animatronic referred to in its title. Instead of being Cursed Springtrap, he is just The Curse. The Curse is dressed up in bejeweled golden armor and a green leaf skirt, and also carries around a cracked shield held by an arm that is made entirely of feathers. I cannot deny, although this one feels kind of like weird to me. I love this design. I think it looks so cool. Strange, but awesome. Number 4, Dee Dee. Dee Dee originally appeared in FNAF World and was one of the first animatronics from that game to show up in the main continuity of FNAF games in Ultimate Custom Night. She resembles Balloon Boy in her appearance and has a sweet and youthful sing-song voice. When you add her to Custom Night, she will summon a random animatronic to join your game at a difficulty somewhere between 1 and 10. Dee Dee has that same deceptively overly cheerful look that some other animatronics have, which is a big part of what makes her so weird and so creepy. People look like too happy, like it's like plastered on. That's creepy to me. I don't like that. Number 3, Heartsick Baby. The hits just keep on coming from Special Delivery AR. Heartsick Baby was made to be a Valentine's Day variant of the animatronic. This skin for Baby, though, is less sweet and romantic, more disturbing and creepy. I'm not sure what would honestly be weirder, a truly adorable Valentine's version of this animatronic, or the creepy one that we got. Both seem pretty weird in my mind, to be honest. Heartsick Baby was given a dark pink, gray, and black color motif as opposed to her usual one, and had hearts added on her kneecaps, chest, and her cheeks. But don't let those hearts fool you. She also appeared as an alternate to Cupid, but slightly tarnished in appearance, and with wings whose feathers even seem frayed or cracked near their tips. She also comes armed with a bow and arrow, and instead of pins, has a couple of arrows sticking out of her shins. So I guess Heartsick Baby doesn't have great aim. All around, this is a pretty disturbing alternate version of Circus Baby. Happy Valentine's, I guess? Heartsick Baby was added as a special animatronic holiday skin on February 4th, 2021. Valentine's Day animatronics. Number 2, Liberty Chica. One of the strangest ones of all when it comes to Special Delivery AR skins, in my opinion, is Liberty Chica. Not only is this strange just to look at, but it's also kind of horrifying. Without the animatronic getting angry or pursuing me, I still find it scary. Just to look at it is really weird and also really disturbing in my personal opinion. Liberty Chica was one of the skins that appeared as part of the July 4th celebration in Special Delivery. This design was evidently based on the U.S. National Monument, the Statue of Liberty, which is located in NYC, and was given to the U.S. actually as a gift from France to celebrate their liberty, freedom, and independence from the British. Fun fact, America initially didn't even want that statue, and then when they did accept it, didn't want to pay to create the base needed for it to rest on. This is a true story. Liberty Chica also comes with their own version of Mr. Cupcake, reskinned as the stoic-looking Torch Cupcake. Number 1, Egg Baby. I mean, I think we all agree that Egg Baby is one of the weirdest animatronics out there, no? Even Scott seems to have acknowledged how weird this creation is, trolling us with its potential appearance in UCN, which of course didn't actually end up happening. Egg Baby is just a strange prop animatronic that you can acquire in Pizzeria Simulator for a whopping $6,000. Why is it so expensive? What does Egg Baby actually do or add to your pizzeria? I think just a whole lot of awesome weirdness personally, which honestly, it having a $6,000 price tag just, I don't know, it just makes it somehow better. It makes it more weird, but also more great that it's so expensive. I need that Egg Baby. I need that Egg Baby in my restaurant. Number 10, Happy Frog. In Ultimate Custom Night, watch out for Happy Frog, as she is sneaky and approaches via the air ducts overhead. One of the most frightening things about her is her bubbly, innocent appearance, which contrasts her murderous tendencies. But also, in truth, seems to inform us of her feelings regarding murder. What are her feelings, you ask? Well, it seems based on her reactions to killing you and the lines we hear her speak that it brings Happy Frog a lot of joy to do so. Yikes. One of the creepiest lines you can hear her say in the game is, "We've only just begun. I will never leave you. I will never let you rest." A frightening promise, to be sure. Please let me rest. Please leave me eventually. Number 9, Phantom Puppet. Just because the Phantom animatronics can't hurt you in FNAF doesn't mean that you don't have anything to be scared of. Phantom Puppet is one of the most terrifying to gaze on of the animatronic puppets for me. Because, you know, Puppet himself has always reminded me of the Babadook from the horror film of the same name. And in this incarnation, Puppet looks to be even closer to the creepy, shadowy, monstrous figure of the film. Any other Babadook fans see a resemblance here? Do you know what I'm talking about? His shadowy appearance also only makes him more frightening, as it masks the details of his appearance. But it doesn't mask them fully. We can still just see enough of the outline of his mouth and features to make our imaginations run wild. and our heartbeat just a little quicker. The only thing that isn't somewhat dimmed when it comes to his features are his blindingly illuminating pupils, which stare at you, making you want to freeze where you are. Ugh, those pupils. Ugh. Number 8, Rockstar Chica. Rockstar Chica is known for her boisterous and intimidating attitude. She also seems to revel in attacking you in FNAF, which makes her a great and frightening antagonist to play with in Ultimate Custom Night. And when it comes to her appearance, her sunken eyes and overly colorful display, as well as the explosive speech bubble on her bib that reads, "Let's rock," obviously a play on her other bib which says "Let's eat," is what I find so off-putting about her. Ultimate Custom Night, her determined attitude makes her a fearsome enemy, and the only way to deter her in the game is through the wet sign, which you have to place on whichever side of the office you hear her approaching from. And watch out, cause Rockstar Chica is fast, and she will charge right at you, sometimes before you have enough time to react. Number 7, Withered Foxy. Withered Foxy is super scary to me because of his exposed jaw and teeth, as well as his endoskeletal ear. Endoskeletal. Is that a word? Well, it is now. Where before in the original Five Nights Freddy was already pretty rough looking, he is now even more tattered. While he might not be missing any limbs, this just means he's one of the most capable of all of the withered animatronics. More limbs to, run after you, pounce at you, and tear you apart with, in my fearful mind. Please don't tear me apart, Foxy. Please don't do it. Withered or otherwise, I don't want you tearing me apart. Number 6, Funtime Chica. One of the scariest things about Funtime Chica's appearance for me is the dividing lines in her face. The metal plates that cover her are sectioned off, making it look like her face could open up from the center, revealing the sinister endoskeleton beneath. Also, her cupcake! Ugh! Her cupcake looks super terrifying. It's got these tiny razor-sharp teeth, and it appears to look suspiciously calm when compared to its nightmare version. Almost like it's, trying to get you to let down your guard so that it can then proceed to, I don't know, like just chew your face off. In FNAF, you don't eat cupcakes. Cupcakes eat you. Her more realistic 5 fingers also just wig me out. Funtime Chica appears in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, but she is also a character you can play with in the Ultimate Custom Night game. Number 5, Plush Babies. Plush babies. Not as cute as they sound. These little plushies are the antagonists in the VR FNAF game. Help wanted. They're each slightly different, smaller, and more terrifying versions of animatronic Circus Baby. Each has a different colored dress: blue, yellow, red. The yellow plush baby is missing an eye, while the blue plush baby has red stitching on her torso. There are also frightening versions of the plush babies that more closely resemble Scrap Baby. These versions includes a modification of the one-eyed yellow plush baby, who also now appears to have black liquid oozing from her eye sockets. Blech. By the way, anything clown inspired, and I'm pretty much just out. I'm just gonna put it out there. Clowns are creepy. I don't like them. You heard it here first, folks. Number 4, Foxy. Probably one of the most terrifying animatronics from the original game, in my opinion. Foxy first appeared in the original Five Nights at Freddy's game and has reappeared in many of the sequels, albeit sometimes in a different form. Foxy is known for being shy, hiding behind the curtain at Pirate Cove in the first game, but also, he demands your attention. Not watching Foxy as often will lead to him bursting out from behind his curtain and sprinting towards you, punishing you by pouncing on you and killing you. And he's a challenging one to close the door on in time because he's so fast. So you definitely don't want him coming out to play. It's dangerous. At his speed and his broken down and pirate-like appearance with hook hand and rows of sharp teeth, and it's easy to understand why he's still considered to be just one of the most terrifying animatronics that FNAF has to offer. Number 3, Golden Freddy. This is a yellow version of the original Freddy Fazbear from the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, but with a few other slight differences. Nothing big. Just holding a microphone with dark blue clothes instead of black, a dark blue tinted hat, and a dark blue bow tie, and oh yeah, his eyes are missing! When compared to the original Freddy Fazbear, Golden Freddy made for quite the surprising and terrifying sight. What's worse than, animatronic eyes staring at you? An animatronic without eyes staring at you. How are you staring at me? Stop that. In Ultimate Custom Night, if you've managed to unlock all of the cutscenes, you will be rewarded by viewing Golden Freddy in the final cutscene, who can be seen twitching uncontrollably in pitch black darkness. True scary story. Number 2, Nightmare Freddy. This version of Freddy first appeared in FNAF 4. He is more tattered with a bent ear and missing toes from his suit. Overall, his design, although very torn, appears more lifelike when it comes to the shape of his body. This version of Freddy has more menacing looking pointed teeth, which are also more exposed. His eyes staring at you, shining a reddish yellow. And he doesn't just have one terrifying Freddy Fazbear head. Oh no, 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 no. He has three miniature Freddy Fazbear animatronics known as Freddles. Oh, what a cute name. It's not scary. Also come along with him, appearing to be stitched to Nightmare Freddy, melded with him. Gross. Ew. Ick. Number 1, Springtrap. Springtrap is an early withered, run-down model of a Bonnie suit. In fact, Phone Guy refers to this animatronic in-game as Spring Bonnie. But the suit comes with a bonus! It also houses the mutilated corpse of William Afton. Springtrap is the main antagonist in FNAF 3, and is as evil as the corpse of the man who rots within it. William Afton himself is known in the game as the serial killer responsible for the missing children incident, referred to in the game. Afton was also the owner and operator of Afton Robotics Inc., where Fazbear Entertainment got all their creepy animatronics. Thanks for that, Afton. Thank you. And if you look closely at Springtrap, you can see between the holes in its suit the remaining guts and torn flesh of Afton, and his mummified head. It's in there. It's gross. It's all shriveled and pink. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this list and didn't find it too spooktacular. Just spooktacular enough. Number 10. Lolbit. I think the question becomes, why does Lolbit really exist? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Lolbit, but they are kind of just a strange twist or variation on Foxy. Lolbit first appeared as an animatronic in Sister Location and is a recolored and female version of Foxy. Foxy with no hook hand and with lipstick. For us to understand why Lolbit was created, we would need to look at a clear and precise timeline to get an idea. Clear and precise timeline. Okay, so without that, we can theorize based on what we know that Lolbit probably came after the original Freddy, as Circus Baby's Pizza World was kind of a rebrand for the franchise, but also maybe was open while it was open. It's confusing. If Lolbit was a part of that crew and not made after Pizza World, just as a part of entertainment and rental, that is of course if Lolbit was made at the same time as all the Circus Baby's animatronics, and not just as a part of entertainment and rental. So, Lolbit was potentially made to be a less scary version of Foxy, no hook hand, no pirate theme, just a cute but still terrifying fox. But really the weirdest thing here is we don't really know if that is true, because we don't really know like 100% confirmed much of anything when it comes to timing or lore in the FNAF franchise. So just why Lolbit? Number 9, Lefty. Lefty is weird because it isn't really an animatronic of its own, but merely a storage device for the puppet. Lefty's name is also a sort of acronym in terms of what they were designed for, so don't be fooled by their rock star appearance. Lefty's name is actually an acronym that goes L-E-F-T-E, but of course they are called and often referred to as Lefty instead because they hold their microphone in their left hand, implying that they themselves are a left-handed animatronic. Lefty stands for Lure, Encapsulate, Fuse, Transport, and Extract, revealing the meaning behind the name for this animatronic, and its purpose is actually much more sinister than you'd think just by looking at them. Lefty is also missing their left eye, but otherwise appears to be in pretty great shape, which is also kinda odd. Number 8, Ennard. I mean, just Ennard's existence is kind of weird, isn't it? Ennard is a combination of the main Circus Baby's entertainment and rental animatronics all combined together, but who for some reason like to appear as a horrifying clown. I guess that is the Circus Baby coming out? Is she the one who picked that outfit? I don't know. Add in the fact that eventually Ennard ends up wearing the protagonist as a human skin suit so that it can escape, or even stranger, that it somehow escapes without that suit and yet tracks the protagonist down anyways, who we know as Eggs Benedict, but of course assume is Michael Afton. And yeah, Ennard is a pretty strange animatronic, both when it comes to story and appearance. Number 7, Jack-o'-lantern. Just like Carl, aka Mr. Cupcake, who came before him on part 1 of this list, Jack-o'-lantern is another animatronic pal of Chica's, or more specifically a pal of Jacko-Chica's, the Halloween-themed version of Chica, who herself looks like a horrifying and bright jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern is also believed to appear in the FNAF 3 Halloween update, as the appearance for them is very similar to the lantern that appears on our desk in that update. Jack-o'-lantern replaces Chica's cupcake for this version of the character and looks identical to your run-of-the-mill Halloween pumpkin jack-o'-lantern. Nothing too crazy to see here, which strangely makes the companion even weirder, because it just looks so normal. Number 6. Clown Springtrap. The Dark Circus event in Special Delivery brought us all kinds of strange but thematic animatronics. One of those happened to be a reimagining of Springtrap that I never expected to see. Clown Springtrap. This version of Springtrap wasn't clowning around too much though, so don't worry if you thought a jolly clown seemed out of the murderous Springtrap's wheelhouse when it comes to looks. It is called the Dark Circus event after all, and so this version of the animatronic was more of a scary clown. Clown Springtrap wields a terrifying hammer, all the better to smash you with, and is done up in white paint and clown makeup. This clown is not what you think of when you normally think of a fun circus clown. Clown Springtrap also seemed to have a bunch of chipped and jagged teeth. Kinda reminds me of the very disturbing Twisty from American Horror Story. Let's go to the circus, I guess? Number 5. Amalgamation. Talk about weird and twisted versions of the animatronics blended together, a theme that seems to pop up in every corner of the FNAF franchise. For this animatronic, we need to turn to the novel trilogy for FNAF. Not to be confused with the Fazbear Frights books, which are a separate book series and kind of more of an anthology than a connected and continuous narrative like the trilogy is. In the third and final book in that trilogy, we meet that amalgamation, which is helping to keep William Afton alive and is a melted down, welded together mass of all of the original animatronics combined. Freddy, Golden Freddy, Chica, Foxy, and of course, Bonnie. Even more horrifying and bizarre, the amalgamation is not described as being remotely recognizable as these animatronics. Instead, its form appears as a lump of burnt and hot metal with clumps of wires and like metal tubing sticking out, visible here and there. Number 4. Melted Chocolate Bonnie. As though it wasn't odd enough that we got Chocolate Bonnie last year for Easter in Special Delivery, the FNAF AR game, this year we got an even stranger Easter version of everyone's favorite bunny animatronic, Melted Chocolate Bunny. I love this version because to me it implies that real chocolate was used in the creation of the version we saw last year. Either that or Fazbear's thought a melted version would be fun. So fun. I'm not sure which potential explanation I like better here for this gloriously strange and disturbing exclusive holiday animatronic skin. I hope all you Special Delivery fans had fun with this horror show over the Easter holidays. Let me know in the comments if you happen to run into a Melted Chocolate Bonnie animatronic. Is it weird that I also now want chocolate after talking about this? I know it looks really scary, that animatronic, but I'm just like, kinda want, I could go for a chocolate bunny or a chocolate Bonnie. Number 3, Paper Pals. I mean, yeah, these are just paper plate creatures come to life, I guess. They aren't even really animatronics so much as just sentient paper plate, well, pals. Initially, the Paper Pals appeared in FNAF World. Each one is thought to represent a main antagonist from FNAF 2. Each one is thought to represent an antagonist from the franchise. There is a paper plate version of Freddy, a paper plate version of Bonnie, and what people believe to be a paper plate version of Balloon Boy, although that one's a little hard to tell, to be honest. And I mean, Balloon Boy is already a weird animatronic on their own because they're not even an animatronic themselves, but more of like a ceramic statue, I think, that comes to life. So yeah, a paper plate version of them that can move around on its own is pretty out there as far as concepts go for animatronics in the FNAF universe. Even though I know that FNAF World, I don't think we actually consider that to be canon, but I just want to talk about some cool paper plates. So please don't blame me. I like the Paper Pals. They're weird and lovely. They're just so low key. That's what I like. Just a paper plate with some little limbs. Number 2, Music Man. You'd think Music Man wouldn't mind loud sounds. After all, he is a music man who admittedly looks less like a man and more like some creepy humanoid spider combo thing, but who also carries around cymbals. You know what makes a lot of noise? Cymbals. But maybe it's just that only he is allowed to make the noise or music, according to his rules. And he is not a fan of competition when it comes to making noise or making sounds. Either way, in Pizzeria Simulator, Music Man becomes active throughout the night if you make too much noise doing your tasks in the office. So if you want to avoid running into this horrifying weirdo, be sure to keep the noise down. Although, always just a good idea to do that in Pizzeria Simulator, because any noise, you're gonna have some enemies approaching you. Number 1, Fruit Punch Clown. On part 1 of this list, we talked about another vendor bot animatronic available to you in FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. Now it's time to continue on and talk about another strange vendor bot animatronic. Following the theme of how clowns can be weird and creepy, we have Fruit Punch Clown. Fruit Punch Clown is a fruit punch container and dispenser. Not only does this clown look extremely creepy with its over-exaggerated, gleeful expression, but every now and then it also says some pretty creepy stuff too. In his own minigame, the goal is to startle as many children as possible with his fruit punch alarm, which is already pretty strange, but there is also a small chance that after surprising the children, he might utter a sinister phrase. Tell anyone about this, and I'll cut your throat. Oh